Welcome back to another week of Sports Night. I'm Aaron Johnson, joined by Jack Hirsch. Jack, why don't you break down the Ryder Cup for us?
Thanks, Aaron. The United States defeated the Europeans at the Ryder Cup this weekend at Hazeltine National Golf Club in Minnesota for the first time since 2008. This is also only the second time the Americans have won the Ryder Cup since their historic comeback at the 1999 edition. Ryan Moore, Davis Love's final captain's pick, captured the clinching point for the Americans, winning one-up against Englishman Lee Westwood on Sunday. Patrick Reed put on a fiery display in the final round in defeating Team Europe's top-ranked player Rory McIlroy. The American team had never faced this much pressure heading into Sunday singles play. The Americans held a 9.5 to 6.5 point lead over Europe, but were constantly reminded of how they blew a 10 to 6 lead in 2012 at Medina. Grizzled Ryder Cup veteran Phil Mickelson delivered 2.5 points over the weekend, including a half with Sergio Garcia on Sunday, where lefty made 10 birdies and both players birdied the final 2 holes. Back to Aaron for an update on women's soccer.
Thanks, Jack. The women's soccer team beat the Illinois Fighting Illini 2-0 on Friday with goals from Franny Krause and Marissa Shiva, making the Lady Lions 4-0-1 in Big Ten play. This week, women's soccer will face off against Indiana and Maryland in back-to-back away games. With 6 games left in conference play, the Nittany Lions are looking at a top seed heading into Big Ten tournament. On Saturday, the women's soccer team was honored during the Minnesota football game for their national championship title from last season. In addition, women's soccer alumna Raquel Rodriguez was named 2016 Rookie of the Year for the NWSL.
And we wish the women's soccer team luck as they take on their opponents this week. Elsewhere in news, LeBron James on Sunday announced through an essay posted on Business Insider and then in Monday morning's Akron Beacon Journal that he will be voting for Hillary Clinton in November's presidential election. In the essay, James hinted at his letter in Sports Illustrated 2 years ago, which announced his return to his hometown Cleveland Cavaliers. Only one person truly understands the struggles of an Akron child born into poverty. And when I think about the kinds of policies and ideas the kids in my foundation need from our government, the choice is clear, James said in his essay. Reporters asked James about his endorsement after Cavs practice on Monday. He said, "Well, anytime I do something, I always say I like to put it in writing form so it's not. It can't ever be interpreted the wrong way." James joins a list of athletes including Stephen Curry and Carmelo Anthony, who have also endorsed the Democratic nominee.
Penn State women's volleyball is off to a huge start in conference play this year. The 18th ranked Nittany Lions are 4-0 in conference play and have swept each team in the conference thus far. The Nittany Lions will face off against #1 Minnesota and Rutgers this week in Rec Hall. Minnesota is also undefeated in conference play this year and has only lost 1 match so far to Stanford this season. The Nittany Lions face off against the Gophers on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Next up will be Kelsey and Dylan with their coverage of the latest football news.
Good evening, football fans. I'm Dylan Huberman.
And I'm Kelsey McHugh.
Kelsey, starting with our college football coverage, we have Washington and Stanford. What did you think of that one?
Well, it was a very interesting game. It was an upset. Washington beating Stanford 44-6. Stanford's Christian McCaffrey was a Heisman favorite. After this game, we may not even know anymore because he did not make any catches in the end zone.
Right. And Louisville, Clemson also is a big game. In Clemson, they took the W, beating Louisville by very marginal, by 6 points. Louisville had a handle on that game for a long time. However, at the very end, James Quick went out of bounds 1 yard short of the first down. Couldn't pull it off. Quite a shocker there.
And Tennessee was also a very exciting game. Tennessee getting that touchdown at the last second with 11 seconds left in the game. Georgia's Jacob Eason did throw for a touchdown before the touchdown by Tennessee, and it was just very exciting. So Tennessee beat Georgia 34-31.
And now for Penn State football. Penn State pulled out an overtime W against Minnesota on Saquon Barkley's touchdown run. But that blindside hit on Joey Julius, I just don't see it. This guy is a 5'10", 270-pound behemoth. I don't want to make him angry.
No, I definitely would not either. I was not expecting to see that at all, especially coming from Joey Julius. He's such a big dude that I was not expecting for anyone to take him out. And you saw it some other times throughout the game too. It was basically everyone was targeting Joey Julius for his past hits in previous games.
Right. That was also an ejection issued for Jalen Waters, who delivered the hit to his head, which left Julius on the field for several minutes. And now to the NFL. A big news in football. The Buffalo Bills managed to shut out the New England Patriots 16-0. The first home loss to Bill Belichick, where the Patriots didn't score. Jacoby Brissett with a big fumble. No passing touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount 54 yards on the ground. No touchdowns as well. What do you make of this?
I think having the Patriots be shut out is something that's not seen very often. They have been a consistent target in NFL football in general.
Dominant.
Yeah, definitely. And I think next week when Tom Brady comes back in, they will definitely pick up their game.
I agree.
And on to the next game. The Colts and the Jaguars played at Wembley Stadium this weekend in London. And the Jaguars beat the Colts 30-27. What do you think of this?
I mean, Andrew Luck so far has just not lived up to his expectations. I mean, Blake Bortles has also had an underwhelming season. However, Blake Bortles had 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and he got the job done. And the Colts just weren't able to get the job done against the Jaguars team that only has 1 win.
Yeah, definitely.
And now to the Panthers and the Falcons. Cam Newton was concussed on a 2-point conversion try. He tried to celebrate before walking into the end zone, and he was delivered a big, big shot. What do you think of that?
I think Cam Newton just needs to save his celebration for when he's actually in the end zone, because I think he gets too much into his head about, celebrating his big touchdown, because he's known for doing that. We saw it last time at the NFL, the Super Bowl. So I think he just needs to save the celebrations for the end.
And also the Falcons receiver Julio Jones had 300 receiving yards, breaking the Falcons franchise record. Another big game out of him.
Our next game to talk about is the Rams and the Cardinals. The Rams this season have become a big surprise. They're 3-1. Carson Palmer of the Cardinals went out with a concussion, and Brian Quick caught both touchdown throws from Case Keenum, who is the quarterback for the Rams. What do you think of the Rams' success so far?
I mean, it's quite puzzling. They were shut out in the first game by the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran at Levi Stadium, and they managed to beat the Cardinals and the Seahawks, 2 very tough teams. They're getting the job done. They're doing very well.
And at the Browns, the Cleveland Browns are actually the only team right now that is 0-4.
0-4. Cody Kessler, a quarterback in that team. They need some help. For PSN Sports Night Football, I'm Dylan Huberman.
And I'm Kelsey McHugh.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello and welcome to our final segment of Penn State Sports Night. I'm Melissa Devine alongside Liana Rizzi, and for this final segment we're talking Penn State hockey. They had their first game this Sunday afternoon. It was an exhibition game against Queen's University of Canada, and it was a great game to be at. We won a big 8-0. So Liana, what did you see from that game?
I have to say, we have some serious superstars on this team this year. We have some freshmen, Nikita Pavlichev. He is a 6'7", 250-pound freshman. According to Coach, he is hard to miss. He had 1 assist, which led to Sturt's breakaway goal. Peyton Jones in net, he had 14 saves, which I think is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Nikita Pavlichev, he's a big guy, 6'7", like you said. We saw Guy Godowski utilizing him in front of that net, in front of the goalie, and that's how you score goals. That's how they got 8 goals on the night. Dennis Smirnoff, he had 2 goals on the night, almost had a hat trick, so that would have been awesome to see. But again, we already had 8 goals. So how do you think the rest of the season is going to play out, especially in the Big Ten? We have some big teams in the Big Ten. Do you think we're going to come out in top 3?
We definitely have a very, very tough season ahead of us. We have some tough opponents, but I think we're going to come out top 3. Definitely Michigan and Minnesota. We're going to have a tough time against them, but we're at a powerhouse this year with these freshmen. I'd like to see the way this pans out.
Yeah, I definitely think we have the experience from our upperclassmen. This freshman team, they were the most anticipated class to wear the blue and white sweater. So
absolutely,
definitely a lot of superstars. And this upcoming week, we have 2 games against St. Louis, Thursday and Friday, both, I believe, at 7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
So last year, they lost 1 game, the first game, and then they tied in overtime. So there's definitely going to be some fire under this team. They're going to want to come out, and they're going to have a redemption. How do you think it's going to play out?
Absolutely. We're going to come ready to play. I think St. Lawrence is going to come ready to play, and I think it's going to be a great matchup. We'll see how it comes to
I personally think we will at least split. I think these freshmen, they were poised in the first game. They're going to come out really strong in the second game. I think we're going to come out with at least 1 win. I'm thinking maybe Friday, but I think it's going to be a good series to watch.
Absolutely. 100% agreed.
All right, well, that's it for our last segment here on Penn State Sports Night. Please be sure to tune in next week as well.